Hi, I'm Scott Cleland, the Director of Product Marketing for Virtual Instruments, the leader in app-centric infrastructure performance management solutions. First, let's examine why deep insights into your NAS environment can serve to optimize your business-critical workloads in an ever-increasingly challenging hybrid data center. Because these hybrid data centers will have access points into edge routers and switches through both public and private clouds, as well as LAN interconnects. Then it'll be interconnected through various physical servers, as well as virtual server environments. Again, interconnected through various switch fabrics, ultimately landing into your shared NAS environment. And having deep insights across this entire entity stack with Virtual Wisdom and now with ProbeNAS will ultimately provide you with end-to-end visibility across this entire stack, cross-domain correlation, so you could pinpoint where the problem is actually happening, as well as remediation recommendations through applied analytics. This is a powerful platform in order for you to optimize and protect the investments you're making into your hybrid infrastructure. Okay, in order to achieve end-to-end visibility, several different types of passive probes need to be implemented within the infrastructure. Virtual Wisdom provides probes for VMs from companies like VMware, IBM ProVM, and Microsoft Hyper-V. We also have agnostic switch probes, which collect information from your switch fabric through SMIS and SNMP, as well as hardware probes, performance probes that connect into either your SAN or in this case, a NAS environment via ProbeNAS. And that information is all collected and correlated within our dedicated appliance. And that is then sent up through our management interface for you to see dashboards and historical trends and records, as well as troubleshooting your infrastructure challenges through the user interface. This provides complete end-to-end visibility in service of your applications in order to optimize both from a capacity perspective as well as from a cost perspective. All right, let's take a look at a legacy approach to NAS troubleshooting without Virtual Wisdom. A VM user complains of slow response times. He contacts his systems admin, who looks at his logs and says, you know what, there is a data store that's showing slow response times. So he goes over and talks to the storage admin and says, your storage is slowing down our entire virtual environment. The storage admin looks at his logs and says, you know what, there's not a problem. But he's blamed anyway. So he collects traces and logs and sends them to his vendors and asks for help. And then he waits weeks and weeks and weeks. He tries to read those traces and logs himself to no avail and decides to throw more NAS heads at the problem to see if it goes away. Well, that's not an efficient way to solve a problem, and it also puts a burden on your CapEx budget, and certainly not a way to solve the user's problem. There's a better way with Virtual Wisdom. All right, let's take a look at a couple of real-world production areas where ProbeNAS came to the rescue and remediated problems. The first is a financial trading customer who is experiencing slow response times during market data feeds at the same time every day. With ProbeNAS, we were able to determine that their TCP window is shrinking at the same time every day, and that's what you see here in the graph. TCP windows are your communication path or your acknowledgement and handshake between two sides of a transaction. And if you run out of available space within that TCP window, it'll have to wait until a new window opens up. What that wait does is it can cause latency spikes in the storage array. And that's what we see here. We saw a correlation between a TCP window shrinking and latency spikes on the storage array. So we were able to correlate that and determine that by changing the parameters of the flow control, the problem would go away. And that is what we did, that's what the customer did, and the problem did in fact go away. The second use case is called a metadata storm. This is very typical in a NAS environment. So this customer was seeing a drastic capacity problem with their NAS. They saw their NAS filling up. And so what we did is we were able to see that that metadata was actually filling it up. And the reason metadata was filling it up was that there was a replication scan going on. And during a replication scan, it takes a look at every file in the NAS array and looks at its timestamp and determines whether or not it needs to be replicated. And that's fine if your array only has 500,000 files. But if you're at scale, and let's say your array has 3 million files, then you'll start getting, your scan will start impacting your ability to accurately measure the capacity of your NAS array. So what ProbeNAS did was identify the metadata storm, identify the application that was associated with the metadata, and we were able to tune the parameters on that application to bring that traffic layer down into an appropriate level. That way you save time and you save the cost of buying additional storage that typically would be done in an environment like this. Well, that's just two of the many use cases that ProbeNAS could be used for to gain valuable insights into your NAS infrastructure. So if you're serious about infrastructure performance management, and if you're serious about total end-to-end visibility, all in service of your applications, consider Virtual Instruments as your infrastructure performance management platform and take resolution to the next level. For more information, please visit www.virtualinstruments.com.